Hey, Fitzy here, back at it again with another one. Today wasn't a good day. No, it wasn't. I turned around with making good headway, and next thing you know, something just didn't work. This thing got in the way. Problem is, I need this piece. Guess what? I don't need it anymore. Stick around. So here we are again, another week at the VIC100. In the last video, I went and barberized this front valance and made something of it. I had to make these side panels here, and that's pretty well completed. I had to make a mounting point here, so this can actually bolt on in the middle here. It's pretty solid there now. So what I need to do now is, left on this valance, is I need to weld two of these together. They gotta be spot welded along here, which is no big deal. I can do that when I take it off. But I'm to the point now where I'm getting down to the nitty gritty on the truck. I added to my list. I was talking about this here. This is a list of stuff that I got to do so I can go ahead and get this ready for primer. Do the body work and get all that done. I'm trying to get the cab finished to the point that I can have all the interior done. That way I get the glass put in it. Get all this out here all done, so that way I get the motor and transmission in it, get the wiring in it, get the interior in it, get all that done on it. But I want to get it primed and possibly do some paint work on the inside before I even start on the box. So, you know, it's getting down to the crunch here now. I got roughly about 5 weeks, maybe, not even that, to actually finish this. That is my goal. I've been tangled up doing some stuff around the house here the last few weeks. I'm pretty well clued up with all that now, and I'm planning on jumping right on this and going right into it, trying to get everything done. I placed orders for a whole bunch of stuff, brakes, all that type of stuff. And I got a line on a grill, and I got a line on another bumper. We'll leave that alone for now. I haven't got it yet, so I'm not going to, fingers crossed. And I also got a line on tailgate. Other than that, I got a mirror. Apparently it is on the way for it. And I think if all this falls through, I got everything I need. I found taillights for it, finally, online. I still had to pay a few dollars for them, but it was the cheapest set I could find. I ordered them. They just appeared on Amazon, and I deal with Amazon a lot and Rock Auto, because at the checkout the price is what it is. You don't get charged nothing extra. And the problem with buying from companies on the internet, like going into, say, CJ Pony or you know, any company like that, the problem you're going to run into, there's always hidden costs that you're not going to know until it arrives at your door and the UPS driver says, you owe us X amount of dollars. That's the nicest thing about places like Amazon. It just shows up at the door, and that's it. When I go to my checkout, there's how much the total is. Thermometer. Because I priced up the brakes for this on Rock Auto, and it was crazy. I bought in rotors, pads, and all the handbrake gear, which is the shoes and the hold-down kits for the back. I'm going to leave the calipers alone for now, and flex lines. All the brake lines are good on this. But I ordered all that, and Rock Auto wanted, I think it was $250 for delivery, and it was well over $500 for all the gear. I managed to find rotors and pads on Amazon, and I think it was $240. And then I think I ended up buying the handbrake gear on Rock Auto. I had to. I think it was $80. So, you know, I priced up them here locally, and it was $100 more for just the brakes, just for the rotors and pads. It was, I think it was $350. So that's how I went about that. Did a bit of shopping around, so I got the brakes around the way for it. Handbrake gears on the way for it. I've ordered and received new power steering lines. I got them there. A bunch of stuff. I ordered headlight pots. I got them. Trying to figure out what other stuff I ordered. Marker lights for the grill. I ordered new marker lights, and of course the tail lights for the back of it. So hopefully I got everything that I need to actually finish this truck. But here's the list of stuff that we're at here now that I'm going to try to finish off between now and next week. That is my goal. I got the inner fender well. Passenger side I got to finish. I'm going to do that today. Mount the rad and condenser, hood hinges, mount the hood, seat mounts, seat belts, weld up rad support. That's where I welded up the pieces and I got to weld the back of it. Mount the bumper, and of course the grill. I'm working on that. Hood latch, where the latch bolts on is all broke off. I got to make that, but I do have the latches. Sun visors got to be mounted inside the cab. I got to put the glass back in the doors. And one vent window is broke off. The bolt, everything's there, got to be welded up, and the other one needs a complete bottom runner put on it. So I want to put that back in the doors and have that done, and then weld up the front valves, which we're going to do today. So today's goal is to finish this here and get this here done. That's our goal. So I'm going to get started on this now. I'm going to haul this front valves off. I want to clean this up, get a mark, get holes drilled in it, and get the ends of it all painted, because I don't want to leave that bare metal there because it's up front, and get all that painted. Let's get started. So I got this taken off now, flipped upside down. I'm going to put some rust converter, give this a clean up rust converter later on. And I'm going to put seam sealer in along here so no moisture gets in around here. I'm not going to bother try to weld this here because this metal here is thin. I know that for a fact. And I'm not going to go through the hassle of trying to weld all that up. But I got to paint this section here and get it ready to mount that piece. But she had these cute couple of braces on her here. This one here is gone. The one that was here, or there it is. That one there is gone. And these here, I'm not going to use them now, and I think I'm just going to cut them out of the way because I think they're just going to hold up more dirt than anything else. So I'm going to get the grinder off, cut these off here, get clear of them, and then I'm going to go ahead and get these parts here painted and the other parts painted ready so I can start putting it together. So while I'm waiting on that there to dry, I'm going to go over and get started on this here. First thing I got to do is up here, I got 2 bolts on this one here. Now this originally had 4, and the section of the firewall from the Ford is gone, because originally this firewall went straight across here, and I removed it all so I can actually get grafted into the Crown Vic. So in here now I've got no hole, nothing bolting it on. Now I only have 3 on the other side, and it's holding fine, it's best kind. So I like to put one more bolt on here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go in through here, and I'm going to find a spot down here, probably, or come in through this section here, and go in there and run a tab off the back side of this here, go in and go over, and actually drill a hole here and put a bolt in here that I can use one of these bolts that came with this. So then I got a 3rd bolt on the actual mount itself. So I'm going to pop this off there now and figure out a spot and start figuring out some way that I can actually fit that in there, bolt it on, and have that done. So here's the actual piece here now. Okay, there's no third leg on this side here. You can see we're originally bolted on. This is much the same as this side here, the way it came down. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on the inside in through here, and I'm going to weld onto here and have a bolt that I can put in here. This is what I have. I found this thin layer of square stock. I'm going to cut an L-shaped bracket on there now and start fitting it in there. And I'm just going to use the bench here, clamp it down, and that'll be my height. And then I'll put the tab on this inside piece here, so I can actually say, okay, that's the height it's got to be, and then I'll just drill a hole, and then I'll go over and mark the hole. So here's what I come up with. I got this trim back, and I made up this little piece here. This come from the corner of this here. Just an old scrap piece of steel I kicking around, rusty steel. Got a lot of that around here, some reason. Lots of rusty steel, eh, buddy? But I turned around, I trimmed it up, and I got that there, so that'll fit in behind there. And that will weld on like so, like that there. That will go in there. Now, one of the issues I got, I'll show you. Now over here, I got the two mounting bolts here. But in here, I got this piece that I put on first, this big piece of, I think 14 gauge that I welded on right when I first mounted the cab. Now, stick right here. Now, if I was to build it so it's all flush to here, this bracket's going to be angled up. So I'm going to put a spacer underneath it so this side steps out a small bit, so that when I drill the hole through here, this will actually sit proper when I bolt it up and it won't sit on an angle. So I got a piece of that plate here. I'll mount that like so on top of that, and I'll clamp that inside there like so, and that will be my spacer. So when I take it apart, this will be this far off the actual panel, so that when I go to lay it in place, it should lay flush. And I just got to drill a hole in that there then, mark where the hole goes in that, and then start working on getting a mounting bolt on the actual body itself. Using the bench as my backstop, I got it clamped on there. I got my spacer put in, and I got the piece of angle iron put in there, clamped on there, and clamped onto the bench right here. I'm going to go ahead now and get that welded on. So I'm here now, and I got that all welded up. I got a hole drilled in it, dressed up, and I got that set up there. Now you can see there's a bit of a rock in that there. So that actually, I took it over and tested on the truck. It fits good. So now I turn around, I got a hole drilled in that there. I got to go over and mark where that's got to be. What I'm doing here now is I just got another nut, one of them bolts that belong to it. Found a nut for it, and I got a washer. I'm going to weld the washer to the nut. And then I'm going to weld the washer backwards onto the body itself this way here. So then I got something that I can actually bolt to. There is tools for this. You can buy the, what are they called? I think it goes with the gun and everything. No, I haven't got them. I make do what I got around when I go at a project. It's nice to have the proper gear and stuff like that. It all costs money. The gun that gun that uses them, put them in, costs money. Them little fits, they're nice. They're great if you're doing large projects, but I need one. Right now, I just need one. I got abundance of washers. I got abundance of old nuts and bolts. And I always try to make do with what I got. It doesn't cost me nothing, just a little bit of work. I'll go over now and get this here welded on and get that fit in place. Here's all I got done, is I marked the hole, I drilled it out big enough that I can actually put the actual bolt through. I weld the nut onto the washer, that'll fit in through the hole there, and I'll weld that washer on there, and then I got a spot for that bolt there to actually bolt on. It's a crude way of doing it, but it's what I have around. I'm all about doing stuff on a budget and doing what stuff I got kicking around. You can be fancy here and put all the proper tools in there, but this here is going to work perfect for me. That's mint. Grind it up now, and that'll be ready to put together. One thing I never took into consideration was that washer that I welded the nut on. It's a few you're pointing out, that's going to be sticking out more. So I'm going to have to recalibrate this section right here now so that the actual big space for the washer. That should do it. Perfect. I also came over here and milled off the top of the washer to get a few more millimeters, so I get the clearances for the back of this here to work. So, you know, there's a lot of high-tech techniques done here, right? That's something to be saying now. I butchered the living daylights out of that and using fancy words to say that I've done it. That's perfect. I got that all bolted up in there now, and the outside ones are done. That's nice and solid. Now I can start going on and making this piece. Before I get started on the inner fender well, I'm going to finish off this front valance. I got to weld this piece on. I was waiting for the paint to dry, and I got the mark there now. Got to clamp that place there, and I cleaned off the spots where it got to be welded. I'll clamp that on and get two of them welded in place. Next on the agenda is this puppy here. Now this one here is rusted out as well. And she's all gone up here. Remember the last one, this one here? I went and used the door skin off the Crown Vic. But the problem I'm running into now is, here's my problem. This is what I got left. There's one door, two doors, three doors. But all the doors are gone anyway, I can tell you that. I used up all the metal on them. I don't know where the other door handle went. No odds. But anyway, I got a problem. I got to find more steel. And it'd be nice if I had a door skin to use. Got the parts in stock. And there you have it. One donation to the cause. Someone mentioned to me about the power wiper, power window motors in the Crown Vics and to use them in the truck. I think if I played around with it a bit, I probably could. I'm not going at it right now. I do have all this stuff here now. Again, I got rid of everything before because I didn't want to even think about it. But the way they're designed up here is there's a steel plate here and then they're riveted onto the actual glass itself. Now, I would have to mount the steel window piece to this here. Now, this goes up on an angle. That's the problem with this here. I'd have to make it go straight up and down. So I'd have to keep this track and the motor and all this type of stuff here and just have it so this will go straight up and down inside the actual door. It's something to play around with. Like, it's got these here, like lock the poppers itself. You could use them in something like open up a trunk or something like that in them. My days of electronic fanciness is, I don't know. There was a time I'd be saving all this stuff. I don't know if I'm going to bother with it. It's a neat idea. And this is the cable one. I do want one for the Toyota now, mind you. This one here could probably work. Yeah, this might work in the Toyota. So I won't get rid of it. I'll hold on to it because I want to put power windows in the Toyota in Krusty. Because when you're strapped into that car on a hot day, you want to be able to put the windows up and down from the driver's seat. So it'd be nice to have power windows in that rig. So I'll possibly save this setup and incorporate it into the Toyota to do this much the same thing as what it's doing here. And I'll take the harness and take a section of the wires with it, and then I'll probably take the switches or something, or just get a generic switch that I can hook up to it. But yeah, there's a donation from this here. There's the door bars. They've come a long way. They used to be big old bulky things. You see me, if you followed along on the Krusty build, I removed them out of Krusty, the crash bars, because of weight. And but these are mandatory in cars today. They came in like 72, I think it was, here in North America. And after that, everything had crash bars. So, but a lot of us, when we get into drag racing looking for weight loss, that's one of the first things to go. Because like if you had a 70 Camaro, it wouldn't have them. But if you had a 78 Camaro, you would have them. So if you had a set of doors off a 70 or 68 or 70 Camaro, they'd work, right? But anyway, I got my sheet metal. Now it's time to go in and start cleaning that up. So I got all the paint cleared off of this here, and I got rid of there's a couple of foam things there that were onto the crash bar. I got them cleaned off. And I just done a quick check to make sure to see how close this is. It's close enough. It's not a perfect cut on either side of it, but it's pretty close to a right angle. So I'm going to start my measurements from here and work my way up. Much the same process as before. I'll measure this one here. That goes straight, this one's straight. This is the one here, this is on an angle. I got to measure from here to this point here, and that'll be my overall length. And then that's where everything will cross over right here. So I'll go ahead now and get this drawn out on that. So I went ahead and I've got everything marked out. This is the side, this is the top, this is the angled side, and this is the flat section. This is the angled side here that goes up on an angle like this here. That's flat there. Then as the lip goes out here. I went ahead then and I done grinding marks. You can see there where I put marks in them so you can actually see them when I put them in the brake. I got them done on both sides here. This one here, this bend here, and this bend here cross over right here. So the problem I'm going to run into here now is that, same as before, I'm going to bend this bend first. Then I got to trim off this here because I don't need none of that. But I'm leaving that there so I can bend it in the actual brake. Give me something to bite in the brake. Then I'll bend this one here. When I bend this one here, I got to come back and I got to cut it. And then once I get it cut, then I can bend this one here. And then I can go on. And this last bend here, I'll get half bent. And then I'll have to take out my I-beam, straighten that up. So it's a straightforward process. Shouldn't take long to do. First bend, I'll go trim that up there now. Got that trimmed off. Now I'll make my second bend. Now I got to cut it for the next bend through here. Make the cut there. Now do the next bend. Bend. I'll force it. Massage all that back in shape again. So I got it roughed into shape. I managed to twist it enough to get it close to the shape that I want. I got to tighten up these edges here a small bit, but I don't mind that so much. The problem with this is too long now, and I'm going to start trimming it up. I got to trim up the back here because I got to have an inch left on the back of it here, longer than it's supposed to be. I got two up here in front. I got to trim up for the tab here, trim up for the tab here. So I'm going to go ahead now and get these tabs and everything cleaned up and cut up and bent over and get that done. I got to turn the corner here a small bit like the way it's done here, that type of thing. Back here I got to trim it off, like I said. Trim it off back along here. And this here got to be cut straight off here. So I'll go get all the trimming done there now. Yeah, this here looks confusing, doesn't it? I knows what was going on there. I got to bend over this tab here now. I got everything cut out. This one here is got to be made a little bit smaller, and I got to weld the center here. Over here, I got to bend on this line here and put the lip back down around along there, just so this will come over and come this way here. Back here, I just got to roughly cut out. I got to put a round corner there because if you look closely here, you can see there's a round edge there, so I just cut it off. I can round that up after. And I've after checking my overall lengths from here to here. What else was it? Yeah, from here back to here. All that there, and I'm all within tolerances of what it's supposed to be. So I'm gonna go ahead now and get this bent over and get this bent over, so that way I can start fitting this on the truck itself. Nothing fancy here. Just gonna bend up that flange there. Make that flat again. On my little piece of angle iron. Everything I'm looking for now is not in my sight. I missed them. Yeah, looks good. I'll trim all that off now, that can be welded up. Same thing here. Yeah, that's ready to go. I gotta weld it up, but not worry about that right now. I can test fit on it first. Here's where I'm to. I've been playing around with it some. I had to rebend this in here. This was too wide on the back here on the top. I had to bend it. I had to unbend this bend. And you can see where the original bend was, right there. And I moved it over about 1/4 of an inch and bent it back. This was 1/4 of an inch too wide back here. And so I had to bend that. Then I come down here and had to do some trimming down here. And you can see what I got done here. I drew a line straight through all them there, went up there, and then put a ruler on that there. Mark a straight line there. Marked them on the front. There's where the holes are to. It would have been nice if I left that tab a little bit longer. I should have made it a little bit longer. It's good enough for it. I'm trying to get this here all straightened away. I had to drill a hole right here, because on the other side, there's a stud there, and you can see I welded a patch in that section there. Over here, you got one of them bolts, one of them there. That bolts the bottom of the rad support on over there. So I got it marked there now. You see, I'm going to drill that out. I got some tape put in here, so I'll get an idea how far inwards the top hole is, and I'll just measure up from it, right? And I'll use this tape as my measuring point to find out how far the hole is, because I can't see the hole where it's to. So what I want to do, I'm trying to get all the front here bolted up tight and pulled forward, so that way I knows where everything got to be back here when I pinches it together and starts marking it to drill the back holes. Because the fender is going to be where the fender is going to be, and the rad support got to be pulled ahead tight, and that's it. So when all this gets pulled ahead tight, that's where this is going to sit. So I'm going to go ahead, take this off again now, get a few more holes drilled in this here, get them lined up, and then work on getting the back all fitted up. I'll do the same thing as I did on the other side. I'll mark it here, down along here, tape it up, using tape to mark the holes, and then transfer the tape over to this here to mark the holes that way there. So go ahead now and get some more of this done. It's more the same as what I done on that fender. I'm just trying to move ahead on this one. And there you have it. I got them all straightened away. I got the bolts and the nuts all putting them there. I went ahead then and marked all these here, drilled out the holes here. I got to put nuts on the bottom side of them, weld them on. I got all this here all straightened away and bolted up, drilled up. I got everything down here figured out. I got the hole drilled there for the bolt to go through, and I got the clip, the hole on the top on the inside as well. So now all the mounting process of that is over with. Next thing I got to work on now is that reinforcement plating system that I put up here in this corner, and that's what we're going to work on next. So I got to take this out. So I have the panel taken off. Now what I need to do is in here is I got to build a reinforcement. I went ahead and marked out and drilled where the hinge bolts goes, and they're close, so hopefully they are. Again, I guesstimated at them much the same as I did the other side, but I got to put a plating system in here now like I did on the other side. I'm going to come back to here, go ahead with a 90 on it, and a little 90 up here in the flange. It'll go right over here, take in these back bolts as well, and that way this will hold it all in place so the actual hinge got something strong to lean on. I dug out another piece of that 14 gauge right here. I'm going to go ahead now and cut this off and start bending it up in the VIC100 brake. After using this VIC100 brake now a few times, it's great for little jobs like this, for small jobs. I took a measurement over on the other side that I can go by, and I figured I'd just eyeball as best I can. This here should be fine. Someone pointed out about the 90-degree, about the angle of it, big point, so I'm going to leave it like this. This here, it looks like it's tipped back, so he takes it out. It's gone too far. Now, it's pretty walled. One of you guys pointed out the whole point of the angle, the way the way the piece rests inside, right? So it's pretty well. I'll straighten that up anyway, but that's the gist of it there now. I'll go over now and I'll test fit this here. I got to mark it, cut the end of it off. I'm leaving the plating system on one end of it, and then I got to fold up the other corners that I'm not using. I got to find out how high it is cut off too. So I'll go get all that done now. So I got the piece all made up. I got all the bends put on it, and I got it all trimmed up. Everything's fitting in place there good now. Got all the angles and everything on it. I'm not going to worry about the 3 holes back here or where the hinges mounts. I'm going to drill that once I get it installed in this here. I have all the plug welds drilled out. Then we're going to weld it. What I'm going to do here now is I'm going to paint inside this here and on the outside of this here before I put it all together. And so I'll get that painted, and then what I'm going to do while I'm waiting for that to dry is that I'm going to work on the hinge that came on, that I have there to go on this side, and it's missing a pin, so I got to figure out something for that. There's nothing high tech about what I do with this here. I just use a rust paint. I don't fool around with none of the well-through primers and stuff like that. I used it years ago. It's very expensive. And I've had to use the clog, the gun, and I've had it fail on welds and stuff like that, and never liked it, so I stopped using it. I've been using this concept ever since. As long as you got some material on it, some paint, and usually everything that I'm doing is a type of vehicle that's not going to be driven in the winter. You know, and that was the biggest problem. You can do what you like with a car for winter time, and it's still going to rust. Because these all came out with protector coatings, galvanized coatings and everything on them from the factory, and they still rust. All you're doing is making it last longer. Don't be afraid of it. A few runs and never hurt anybody. Ooh, look, flow indicators. That's a flow indicator. It just lets you know that you got too much paint on there. Oh, that one over there flowed out on me. Where's he to? There's another one there too. He's there. He's there somewhere. You can see him there. Not there he is. Look. Don't you love it? And I tell everybody the same thing. You'll never see rust under a run. I'll let that dry and get started on the hinge. This is what we got here. And I'm missing the pin up here. So I got to dream up something for that. Also, I'm pretty sure this one's seized as well. So I'm going to pop the spring off of this now and see if I can get it on seize. First of all, it's going to be hard to move because there's no pin in this. And I'm going to get spring out of it, try to put a bolt or something in that for temporary. And so that way I can get it all freed up. Removing the spring on these can be very delicate. Have this position so it smacks you in the mouth when it's done. No, don't bet that. But it's tricky. I've always found that when it comes to items, we used to do it in frame straightening. When we used to have the chains and that on cars, if you hold on to it, it'll kill the blow of the actual spring. So if I just sat here and start plucking on this here, this is going to want to fly off. You can hold on to it, throw a rag over it, do something like that with it. I'm going to hold on to it just to keep it from moving anywhere. And if it wants to take off, you'll stop it. There you go. Because if you had to do that with nothing on it, that probably could have took off, come up, smacked you in the mouth. People don't realize that, like with chains especially, if you're out in the woods towing, and with a tow rope or anything like that, the rope is going to keep coming back till it brings up in something. That's all it's going to do, or the chain. When we used to be frame straightening, we put on a glove and we hold on to the chain when it's pulling on the car. And when if the chain let go from the car, the chain will come back to your hand. Your hand will never get hurt. It'll come back to your hand and fall, is what it'll do. Instead of the whole works of it going back across the shop. And it's just a safety thing we used to do. Yeah, that's not going to move. I managed to tap all these together and got a 3/8 nut bolt just put in there temporarily. I can see there's an actual bend on this where someone's after trying to close this and it actually kinked up. All these here are all seized up on me. I can grab this here now and it don't want to move. What I got to do now is I got to free up these here and work on getting it free. So I'll take it out of the vise for a sec. All I'm going to do is take the hammer, just here, and pound on all them joints. Tell by the way they're shaped, they're not right. I'm never afraid of it. I'll hit it whatever way I want to hit it. Get out the old reliable old WD. That one don't matter. There's another pair of wipers on that. There she goes. Of course, the vice strips are right in the way. Oh, she won't let me. Well, still too tight. Break away in the voice. Let's grab it down here more. Grab it up here more. Oh, there we go. There she goes. I've seen these seize up many a time on old cars and old trucks. Trucks are really bad. Sheds, the hinges that seize and you break the hoods off on them. feel it getting freer and freer as it's going, right? And then it just gets right to losing the tightness altogether. Anyway, that's freed up. There we go. Now, clean this all up and figure out a fix for that. So I'm here now, I got everything cleaned up. And what you're going to notice here is I got a large hole and a small hole. There's a collar goes on the actual hinge piece. So when it goes through here and it tightens up, it'll actually it'll be solid here, and this will ride on the collar. Now I got nothing like it. This is what I got to try to duplicate. You can buy the kits for these. I'm going to try to make my own. What it is, I look for a bolt. That bolt fits down through there and it fits in there snug. Okay? This is where I'm going to start with. And I'm going to chuck this up in the lathe and I'm going to cut it back right here. Just cut it back a small bit just so that I got a little bit of a collar there for that to fall through. And then I'm going to downsize it enough that it'll fit down through here. So let's chuck this up in the lathe here now. If you haven't got the gear, make do. Grinder, cutting wheel. Needs to unplug that. Plug it in there. Now I'll just turn this on and I'll start cutting this back. Now I need to cut that back there so I can actually fit it down for the holder. Let's get the bigger one on the go. Gotta work on making it fit through the other hole now. So this is that. I think I got it. You can see the little collar on it up there and just grinding it back. I'm just making do what I got around her. Turn around, started off with a bigger bolt, and then I just made this end here smaller so it fit through the inside section because I wanted to bring up on the collar here. And I think all I'm going to do is just lay a washer on over it and weld the washer on. That's what I'm thinking about doing with it. Just have it nice and tight. So I'm going to do a few test fits now and see if I can get this to fit in there. Well, now, I was supposed to show you all that, but when I went to look back over my footage, none of it was any good. So this is what I got done. I just rounded off the head on it, rolled it off. I just chucked it up in the lathe again, and then used my air grinder, and then just spun it around until this here rounded off. So now I got the little collar on it with the inside one on it, and that'll fit right there, in through there. That fits in there tight. You bring it out here, fits down through there tight. Let's see how good this will work. Yeah, just leave it. concentrate on something. There we go. Now, see if I can get that to, will that rotate down under? Oh yes, yeah, still works good, yeah, perfect. So here's what I got done. You see she's gone through there now. We got a decent gap there. And then I can turn it over here and you can see so after rotating everything. So here's what we got going on. I wants to weld this to this piece here on the other side is what I'm going to do. But you can see now that I got, that the motion is there. And it's on a sleeve. There's no play in this anymore. And that looks much the same as one of them, right? That was my whole concept behind this. This is a simple fix. You know, these are just soft-headed rivets is all they are. And to tighten them up, all I got to do is just hammer them on. But all I'm going to do is I'm going to weld this one on from the back side and then cut it off and probably put 2 little cuts in it to make it look like, or 2 little dimples in it, make it look like the original style one. I'm not too fussy on it now, on you, but I'm just saying I got to fix this, and this is how I'm fixing it. All I did is I just welded it onto the actual hinge itself, this part here, because this is the way they usually are. They're like a rivet, and then they're spread out, and they're a soft head rivet, and this is how they're put in place. They're put in, then they're basically hammered in place. I'm willing to say they're put together hot, and it's like a hot rivet, and they actually just hits it, and that's what spreads it out and holds it in place into these panels here. But I'm just going to weld it on and be done with it. So I got that done. I'm going to clean that all up there now. That's brand new, Sharby. Look, that's perfect. Brand new. Now down here, I got some, you can see the movement in that. All I'm going to do is I'm going to hammer these here and tighten them up. So well organized here. Just laying them on an old socket. And there you go. Nice and tight there now. All I did is just flatten them out on this side here and tighten them all up. What I'm going to do here now is, since I got all this done, I'm going to, before I was just putting nuts and bolts on these here and through the hole, I want to build a platform that I can actually put right here that'll have 3 holes in it that'll fit on the inside like a plate. And so then I can put the plate inside and line up a couple of holes, and then the whole thing will stay steady. Once I get to figured out where it got to go, I can weld that plate on, and the 3 bolt holes will be where they have to be, instead of having to move them around and trying to figure out where to weld the bolts to. So I'm just going to take another piece of this 14 gauge here now, cut out a sliver. I'll make 2, and I'll weld nuts on the back side of it to bolt onto the back of this. And there's what I'm talking about there. Just something simple. 3 nuts are in place here now. This can move around. This will just be sandwiched between this and the other panel. And then when it comes time to, I'm happy where it's to, because I may have to move the outside holes and make them big. Because I may have to pull this up like a 1/2 inch or move it forward a 1/2 inch or something. And I'm taking into account that I'm going to run into that problem. So this here can move around and it'll actually fill up any holes that if I run into that, right? So if I got to pull the head a full inch, I can do it with this system here and not have to worry about trying to have holes that I got to fill in and stuff like this, because this will just slide forward like that. And then I can just weld the edge of it where the original hole was to on the outside and just have that there. So I got that there now. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to haul over the actual panel and get that all welded up. I got the panel clamped in place after I got it all painted. Now, the problem I got is everything's painted here, and I got to clean the paint off it. What I have here, this was an old strip drill bit that got dull on me, and all I did is I cut the end off it, made it flat, and all you do then is you just stick it in the hole. And it cleans up all the paint. I'll go ahead now and get that all welded together. So I'm here now and I got all that grinded off. Got all my holes drilled here for the hinges and for the 2 back bolts. Top is all grinded off. What I'm going to do here now is I'm going to rough it in here. I got an idea that this is going to be more than this. This here is much as similar as the other side. The other side is about to here. This is about to here. And this is about to here. So I'm just going to go ahead and just get myself started here and get this section out of the way. Just so I got something to go by. And hopefully I've got the welding pieces back in this later on. But I still think this is going to have to come up to here anyway. On this side here. Because the fender is a little bit different. Inner fender. And it's a smooth fender. Like I just got it laid up in place here. You can see the way this one is smooth. And this one here got a drop in it. I think so I'm going to be cutting it off to this height here. Eventually, right? Now I do have another issue I'm going to address there in a sec. I'm wondering if that there booster or this here power wiper or this wiper motor, or let me get this figured out. Hang on, calm down, clear head. I've been out here all night. It's night time now, and I've been out here over 12 hours. Heater motor, yay! Anyway, I think that's going to be interfering with the actual hood hinge. So I'm going to bolt it all together and put it in there and see what I get. We'll see what I comes up with. I'm here now trying to figure out how to put this plating up in place so I can put it through the holes. This is what I come up with. I have a couple of old bolts and I cut the head off them. So you just screws in there, simple like that. They're too long. And that's what I got done there. So that'll fit up in place there now where I can actually go in there and lay the hinge in place and put the 3rd bolt in place and snug it up. Then I can unscrew these here just from the outside and put the other bolts back in. I just got these put in here so it'll actually hang in place. When you work by yourself a lot, you gotta find ways to make things easier for you. This is one way to do it. Can you see it? Oh, maybe something else now. This is. It's not going to want to fit there. I'll just close it open. And there it is. This is going to have to be using a hood prop. If I cut all this off back here, I'll get clearance. And I'll have to put some sort of either shock on it or put a hood prop on it, because I can't use the springs no more because they're interfering. Oh God. I think that'd clear then too. Quite possibly it'll clear. Yep. Anyway, there's the bolts. You seen how I got them on? But that's not our problem. Our problem's right there. It's actually bringing up in the actual heater motor. Right there. That is the spring mount for the actual, to hold the hood up. So what's going to end up happening now is I'm going to have to put a hood prop on this. Hopefully it still clears. I'm going to take this off now and cut this off. I'm not going to overthink this and say, oh my God, it's ruined. Because the springs are what they are. If I got to put a hood prop on it, I can probably put a one of them little hydraulic things like it's on a hatch. I might be able to take the ones off the trunk lid and the Crown Vic and use them on the hood. I don't know, and I could be concerned about it. For now, I'll use a block of wood or something to hold it up if I got to. I just want to get this so it works. So I'm going to haul this off now and cleave this piece off, and hopefully it'll clear the motor in. I'm going to cleave that off and see what happens. Let's try this again. Okay, I'm going to notch the back of the cowl there. This one is going to fall on the floor. What happens when you go back and stuff. This is what I'm up against. The hinge comes back and goes past this. So I got a notch taken out of it now to see if it'll clear. I'll tidy it up. Hopefully it'll clear. and then I'll just straighten it all up after the fact. You don't know what you're going to get yourself into, I can guarantee you that. Just so you know, right here is what's interfering. It's going back. I can't cut none of this off. This got to stay just like it is. And I just got to have it so that it goes back further. I'm going to go on now and get that all bolted on. And hopefully it works. Fingers crossed. So I've been playing around with it. I got the clearances back here. You can see the problem I'm running into. Right now I have the hinge in the lowest position that it needs to be in. I'm hoping it does not need to be that low, okay? I got to size up the hood because what I'm running into now is a my own light. Is right here. I'm touching. When you open it up, it comes down and brings up in the actual side. Now, I can trim this off. I don't want to go getting in trimming off this arm. That's going to make everything weak. I don't know if this is where it's going to be too. I'm hoping that the hinge has got to be up a bit higher in the back. And that will give me my clearances that I need. But back here now, I got the clearances. Back here. Look down through there. I can shave off a small bit of this here if I need to be. But I don't want to take no bulk out of it. It's a bit of a scenario to get myself into, I can tell you that. To look at that there now to see how tight everything is. And then when that opens up, everything is fine. But you can see back there in that corner now, it's the clearances, the way all that goes down and rings up. So, like this here has to bring up on this here for this to be fully closed. And I had it up in a higher position and it clears everything. But I don't want to go modifying anything right there yet until I actually get the hood on it. Because I'm looking at the distance between this and the top of the hood and I think it's not that much. I measure from up here to the actual back rear bolt and I got about 2 1/8 of an inch to this bolt here now. This is the distance that I have here. This is the height of the panel. Now over here, this is where the actual hinge will bolt. That'll be the bolt hole for the rear of the hinge. What I need to do is to measure distance from here to here. This will tell me how low this has got to be because this here got to be the same height as the cowl. When I lays that there, along there, measures up from there, I'm about 1 3/4 inches. So I got 1/4 of an inch that the hinge got to come up. So I should be good. So I'm not going to modify nothing there for now. I'm going to leave it alone. What I'm going to do here now is I'm going to adjust this up so that this here is 1 3/4 inches to this here. And see what it looks like. Now, if after raising up the back of the hinge to the top of the hole, and right here to here, it's still 2 inches. Because now this falls down further because I'm not touching nothing now. It clears everything. Everything clears. This opens and closes. You can see that it brings up right here. So this here will actually now go all the way up and go all the way down. And that's right there. From what I can make of it, the hood has to be somewhere around right there. When I measure that up. Yeah, see about 1.5 inches to there, look. That's roughly probably where that's going to end up being. Like, I don't know if these hinges goes right down to the bottom when the hood is closed. I don't know. So, but when I push that down there now, I have clearances on everything. Nothing's touching. But this here still has to come up. So I think I should be fine. I'm not going to worry too much about it right now. I've spent too much this evening on that now. It's getting later. But I got the hinge mounted. You see that plating system I made. I got this inner fender well made. I got the front rad support welded up. I was hoping to get more done, of course, and also repaired that hinge. I think what's going to happen here now is that this is a busy week for me here now. I got things going on, family stuff going on, and I wanted to get a video out for you guys. I've only got 1 day this week to get something done, and this is what I'm at. I've been at this since early this morning, and it is now 20 to 11 in the evenings. So I've been out here all this while trying to get some content for you guys, so I'll have something for Friday. The problem I'm having now is because this is just this week. I got an event coming up Friday, and it's here at the house, and I've got a lot of time being taken up. But after this Friday, full tilt on this thing. So I want to get some stuff done on it. So over on our list, do we get anything done? Weld up rad support, backside, seat belts, seat mounts, mount hood, hood hinges. We got the hood hinges done. Yeah, and the inner fender well, passenger side. I haven't got that quite finished yet, so I'll leave that alone. But we do have the hood hinges figured out. Every little bit counts. Yeah, so there's where we're to. We got that other inner fender well upper brace made, but I want to get that mounted as well. And that hinge slowed me down. I was hoping to have the inner fender well in this tonight, but because of the issues I run into that hinge, there's been a lot of modifications done here today. So, you know, I've been recording all this today, and everything you've seen here today, I've done in about, well, 12, oh yeah, about 15, 16 hours, I think it is. No, it's not that, is that? How long is that? 4 to 11. Yeah, about 13, 14 hours for sure. I've been out here at this, so. But it's it's a little bit of headway, and I got something to move forward on. So this is where we're going to leave this one. I hope the tips were good, and until next time.